Player 2. And... Okay, let's get back into this. Player 1, you make the next selection as we continue. Too many cooks. Player 1. Right. We return to you, Player 1. You can't judge a book. Okay, Player 1. Good for you. Player 1, pick again. She wrote the 1970 novel Play It As It Lays and the 2011 memoir Blue Nights. Yes, Player 1? Nope. Sorry. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? It's Player 3. That is correct. Player 3, you start us off. Troubled by the Fugitive Slave Law of 1850, she wrote what became an immediate bestseller. Okay, Player 1. Sorry. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? It's Player 2. That's correct. A lot of clues, a lot of categories. Player 2. This author created the vampire Lestat, the bad boy of the blood-sucking world. Okay, Player 1. No, that's not right. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Here's the response we were looking for. Anne Rice. You again, Player 2. Not published until 2004, Suite Française is by Irene Nemirovsky, who died in this concentration camp in 1942. Let's hear it, Player 1. Right you are. Player 1, It was curtains for Hercule Poirot in her 1975 mystery, Curtain. It's Player 1. Correct. Good. Back on the plus side. Select again. Man cannot live. Let's hear it, Player 1. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Here's the correct response. By bread alone. You again, Player 1. Dhaka is its capital. Player 1? Yes, great, you're back into it now. Player 1. In November of 1976, the United States vetoed this reunited country's admission to the UN. Player 1? Hey, you're right. Select again. Norodom Sihamoni assumed its throne in 2004. Yes, Player 1? Sorry. Anyone else? Here's what we were looking for. Cambodia. We return to you, Player 1. This word describing Penn State's lions comes from an Algonquian term meaning single mountain. Okay, Player 1. Correct. We return to you, Player 1. He who laughs last. Yes, player one? Sorry, that's wrong. Any other takers? Here's the correct response. Laughs best. We return to you, player one. In 1852, George Kamen gave physicians a new version of this instrument, whose name is from the Greek for chest. It's player one. Yep. We return to you. This German's discovery of X-rays in 1895 had visible effects in diagnosing medical problems. It's player one. Sorry. Anyone else? Here's the correct response. Wilhelm Röntgen. Select again. The University of Texas at Arlington uses this nickname, shared by the NBA team closest to them. Player one? Good for you! Select again. This University of Idaho nickname is from an old Germanic tribe whose name has come to mean troublemakers. It's player one. Correct. Player one, back to you for UC Berkeley's teams are known as the Golden These. Yes, player one? That is correct. You again, player one. Pepperdine's nickname is this, and some lap not too far away from the campus. Yes, player one? Correct. Player one, back to you for nothing ventured. Yes, player one? Good for you! Player one, pick again. Arthur Wellesley, the first Duke of this, was known as a soldier, but had an eye for art, as you can see at Apsley House. Let's hear it, player one. Right. Please pick again, player one. Answer, the Daily Double. And you're in the lead now. How much? The clue. In 1865, Joseph Lister began using carbolic acid as this, from the Latin for against putrefaction. Even so, you are still in the lead. Here's the response we were looking for. An antiseptic. Player one, the invention of the ophthalmoscope in 1851 by Hermann von Helmholtz aided inspection of this body part. Player one? No, that's not right. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Here's what we were looking for. The eye. Player one. In 1885, the first successful vaccine for this was tested on a boy who had been bitten by a dog. Let's hear it, player one. Right. Player one, back to you for our next selection. All right, here with the clue is Kelly.
You'll find the palace seen here in this country's capital.
It's player one. You got it. Select again. The world's largest blue coral reef is one of the natural treasures of this country's Ishigaki Island. Yes, player one? Correct. Player one, choose again. Famous men who orated at Hyde Park's Speaker's Corner include Friedrich Engels and this 1848 Engels co-author. Yes, player one? That's not it. Anyone else? Here's what we were looking for. Karl Marx. Select again. You can visit several of these historic structures like Kensington and Buckingham. Yes, player one? Good for you. Player one, back to you for our next selection. Regent's Park was a hunting ground for this 16th century king who never hunted without tiring 8 or 10 horses. Let's hear it, player one. Correct. Let's have a look at the $1,000 clue. According to Shakespeare, these conflicts began with a confrontation in the Temple Gardens. Let's hear it, player one. Good for you. Player two is going first in Double Jeopardy when we come back following this. Player two, you start. You can get customized gree-gree bags at the historic Voodoo Museum on Dumaine Street in this city. Okay, player one. That's it. Player one, you start us off. As Rachel died bearing him, she called him Benoni, son of my suffering. His father Jacob used this name. Yes, player one? That's correct. Answer, the first of the 2 daily doubles. You are currently in the lead. What are you going to wager? And the daily double clue. The Jews held these people in low esteem, so they're made to look good in Luke. That puts you even further ahead. We return to you, player one. Careful. Tina Fey's title Rock minus Ashton Kutcher's title Men. Player one? That's correct. We return to you, player one. The first and second of these books cover the same period as 2 Samuel and 1st and 2nd Kings. Let's hear it, player one. Sorry. Any other takers? Here's the response we were looking for. Chronicles. Select again. When the Jews of Persia are ordered killed, Mordecai puts on sackcloth accessorized with these. Let's hear it, player one. Yep. Please pick again, player one. In Luke, Jesus is tried both by Herod and by this Roman governor. Let's hear it, player one. That's correct. Player one, you pick again, please. John Ritter's sitcom Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter times John Ritter's sitcom Company. Yes, player one? Right. Player one, choose again. Colonel Steve Austin's title worth, plus the amount of title days at a time for Bonnie Franklin. It's player one. Right. We return to you, player one. Fred McMurray's title sons minus Paul Reiser's title dads. Let's hear it, player one. Right you are. Select again. Hawkeye's unit number in MASH, plus John Lithgow's title Rock from the Sun. It's player one. Nope. Sorry. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? We're talking about what is 4080. Please pick again, player one. Let's go over to Jimmy.
It was uninhabited when it was chosen as a territorial capital in 1836 and named for a president who died that year.
Okay, player one. No. Any other takers? Here's the response we were looking for. Madison. Player one. Pick a. Indianapolis was laid out in a wheel pattern inspired by this other major city some 500 miles away. It's player one. Nope. Sorry. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Here's what we were looking for. Washington, D.C. Player one. Pick again. An arm of the Simon Wiesenthal Center, the L.A. Museum of this, teaches about bigotry, racism, and the Holocaust. Let's hear it, player one. Yep. Player one, you pick again, please. 2 months before the Declaration of Independence, the Rhode Island Independence Act was signed in this city. Okay, player one. Yes. Player one, back to you for our next selection. The U.S. Space and Rocket Center in this Alabama city contains a vast collection of rockets and space memorabilia. Okay, player one. Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else? Let's hear it, player two. Yes. Okay, let's get back into this. Player two, you make the next selection as this society has a long history. Maps were the theme of a major 2007 exhibit at its museum, Explorers Hall. It's player one. No. Any other takers? We're talking about National Geographic. Player two, back to you. You can ham it up at a museum in this Virginia town. It houses a ham cured in 1902. It's player one. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? It's player 2. Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Player 3? Right. Player 3, where do we start? This Missouri city wasn't named for Scott or Janice, but for the Reverend Harris G., an early settler there. Yes, player 1? That is correct. A lot of clues, a lot of category. As an adjective, it means very impressive. As a noun, it's a lavish production. Yes, player 1? No. Any other takers? Here's the response we were looking for. Spectacular. Player 1. Marvin Hagler was Marvelous Marvin. Tom Seaver was nicknamed Tom This. Let's hear it, player 1. No, that's not right. Anyone else? Here's the correct response. Terrific. Player 1, back to you. The bird Ardea herodias isn't just any blue heron, it's this blue heron. Okay, player 1. No, sorry. Any other takers? Here's what we wanted. Great. Player 1, back to you. It can mean far better than average or not yet settled like an unpaid debt. Yes, player 1? You got it. Good. Back on the plus side. Please pick again. It's the car battery terminal with a plus sign. Okay, player 1. That's it. Player 1, back to you for answer. The other daily double. Player 1, you're in last place, so let's see if you can close. Player 1, give us a wager. Here is your daily double clue. It was Arizona's territorial capital from 1867 to 1877, and a university was founded there in 1885. Ooh, sorry. Here's the correct response. Tucson. Player 1, pick again. This small Andean rodent is prized for its fur, which can be gray with a deep blue underfur. Let's hear it, player 1. Right. You again, player 1. The striped species of this mammal is identifiable by the 2 white stripes down its back forming a V. It's player 1. That is correct. You again, player 1. Here's Kelly with the clue.
The cuddly koala feeds almost exclusively on the leaves of this tree of the myrtle family.
Let's hear it, player 1. Yes. We return to you, player 1. On the Galapagos Islands, the marine type of this lizard feeds on algae that it gathers off rocks at low tide. Let's hear it, player 1. Right. And we'll wrap up the board with this clue. The Cape species of this bovine of southern Africa is extremely dangerous to man and has never been domesticated. Okay, player 1. No, that's not right. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Player 3? No, that's not right. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Player 2. Right. All three of you will participate in Final Jeopardy right after this. Here's today's Final Jeopardy category: African cities. You need to select your wager. This is a good category. Here's the clue for you. Africa's most populous city not on a navigable body of water. Its settlers didn't need water when they had gold. Did you come up with the correct response? And that will set you back. What did you say? And that will set you back. What did you say? And that will set you back. The correct response is Johannesburg. You've come out ahead as our champion, Player 2. Good game. Thank you so much for playing.